Hello, this is a Chessador game review. This was a 10+0 game on Chess.com between very strong players, 2600 plus player as white, and student who is playing black with around 2400 rating. Okay, so game started d4, and you write to me, sharing this game, it's my highest rated win, but a lot to unpack from this. Okay, let's go. So you play b6. Very interesting try in a rapid game. Maybe you could consider also starting with e6 and then go for this b6. Yeah, that's a different move order, but of course e6 you have to know French. Yeah, you have to be ready to go for French. Okay, but b6, white played now knight f3, but I think they have a better option, e4, transposing to Owen's defense, and actually this variation for white is considered to give an advantage, like not e5, yeah, like French type, black could exchange maybe the bishop, but actually capturing here, I think white gets a slight edge here. Okay, so yeah, that's why I kind of suggest you to go for this move order, first e6 then b6. Yeah, okay, back to the game. He played knight f3, went bishop b7, and now he goes for this Catalan type of setup, g3. Yeah, and you immediately went f5, but I think this is a bit dubious move. And you say, usually I play this delayed Dutch structure, and the Catalan setup is quite tough to play against. Overall, I would like to know the key plans against Catalan in the setup in the middle game against key pawn pushes. Well, I actually created a study PGN for you on Lichess, and my preferred move order if I play this b6 setup would be e6. Much better to play this because we are not yet revealing the cards. Yeah, if we play f5 or something else, as we'll see, we're actually not gonna play f5 in this setup. So white goes for this Catalan typical, and now a very interesting anti-Catalan setup is d5 actually. Yeah, so we are kind of playing into some sort of queen's gambit, yeah, even, but already bishop is on b7. Yeah, so very simple and reliable system, I would say. And first I've seen this in I am Trent course in Chessable. I think he recommended this because very easy to learn what to do with black. For example, white just goes for the main c4, you can capture. Now if they go for knight bd2, we could already defend the pawn. Some theory to learn here. White gets, of course, compensation, but we have pawn up. Something like this messy position happens. But usually I would mostly expect players to regain the pawn immediately, yeah, because they're thinking they're getting the center. But now see how easily black's pieces are just entering the game. And a very typical plan to remember for black is to push b5 and go for c5. So for example, b5, c5, and I think black gets excellent play. Already equalized in my opinion. Some pressure on f2, maybe knight g4 at the moment even. So you can check the more. Yeah, I'm giving you the setup instead of f5 to check out in the Lichess study, to learn it and apply it, yeah, against the Catalan, see how it goes. Okay, so back to the game. He played f5, and also, by the way, if you go opponent didn't play in the game, but if you go here for f5, there's a very typical setup how white can gain an advantage by this move order. Yeah, you see in the game you kind of went bishop b4, he allowed you to take, as we'll see, but here if he first castles, then there we have nothing to do with this bishop, and that's a big problem. If we put it here, then we will suffer after this d5 move. Very annoying, and pressure on e6 as well. Very hard to defend this e6 since bishop is on b7, and we'll have all sorts of trouble here. This is considered better position and very hard to play for black, so that's why I'm recommending this instead of f5 to go d5 here and kind of go for anti-Catalan setup instead of Dutch. But if you prefer Dutch, maybe don't go with the b6 move order. Yeah, maybe play Stonewall or some Rapport-style, yeah, with Rapport-style would be this thing, yeah. Let's say he goes for this typical bishop g2, we go bishop e7, and we go for knight e4. This is considered Rapport-style. Then Rapport-Stonewall, yeah, even bishop is here, and we go for sometimes for this quick attack. You can check out more yourself. So maybe consider playing those, yeah. So okay, what happened in the game? It went kind of similar like we've seen already, but here I think opponent gave you a nice chance. He should go again for this castle. And then it's harder to put the this bishop somewhere, yeah. And then he goes for this annoying d5, and he would get an edge. So instead he allowed you to pin, and this is now not a Catalan, I would say even. This is reminding more of a Nimzowitsch opening. Yeah, Nimzowitsch defense when we double the pawns here, yeah, no longer a Catalan like pressure. So I think no longer this d5 is so dangerous now. Yeah, even if he plays d5, we can easily protect e6 at the moment. So, and he went for this strange a4. So you're right, even in the early middle game, bishop e4, yeah, you played bishop e4, is deemed an inaccuracy by engine, yeah, but actually for human play, I don't consider this an inaccurate. Let me just, yeah, put out these inaccurate move. So I consider this a normal plan, yeah, for black. Usually we want to put the bishop here. I've seen this, yeah, before they push d5 and close it. But yeah, I think engine just kind of makes this a dubious move because of evaluation kind of differences, perhaps. But I think this is totally playable, what you did in the game. But another alternative could be this knight c6. We'll see more of this pattern in future moves. So this is just a typical idea in the Nimzo, yeah, to go after these pawns. Let's say they go pin this knight, but then we can easily exchange. Yeah, we would love to exchange. He has bishop pair. We would love to exchange the light square bishop. And every exchange, I think, in the long run makes these pawns even weaker, yeah. So for example, if he doesn't exchange, we kind of force him again to do it, like this variation. Black is fine, I think. And if he goes for, yeah, what else could he play? Of course, if we don't go knight a6 and we go something like a5, then he could go with his d5, like you said, yeah, and put a pressure on our position. Bishop now is closed, so this would be a bit annoying. But knight c6 was an alternative to this bishop e4 move. So instead, bishop e4, bishop a3, d6, and now he undoubles the pawns, yeah. So you went queen e7, and you say queen e7 is also deemed an inaccuracy according to engine, and he's recommending knight c6 again. So, and you say you don't understand this move because e5 and b4 is covered, but that's not the point of knight c6. Knight c6 is a very typical move, usually in these Queen's Indian or Nimzo type of positions when we fight for light squares. So knight c6, we are intending not to stay with this knight here. We are intending to go knight a5 and go on the light squares. So that's what our intention is. For example, this line c4, yeah, he has to go now c4. Otherwise, if we occupy c4 ourselves, I think we will just be strategically better in this position, yeah, because okay, he undoubled the pawns, but these squares are still weak, yeah. This is isolated, so he has to basically, white has to exchange all these weaknesses in order to get an equal position, like some line, engine line, yeah, long line like this with around equal positions. So you see, knight c6, good move, not because we just developed, but we are with intention to fight for these light squares. Okay, so queen e7 you played. I don't think this is an inaccuracy, just a normal human move. So yeah, engine can be very crazy like that, yeah, throwing all inaccuracies on many normal moves. So queen b3 opponent played. Well, and you played knight bd7. Again, I think this move, knight c6, was best. We play on the light squares, and queen b3 we use this tempo, yeah, with knight a5, for example. Yeah, we could even unpin, and then knight a5 comes at some moment. And we're doing great, I think, with black here. Instead, he went knight bd7, but I think this knight is not so great on d7, actually. Knight c6 was good. But opponent went a bit too optimistic himself. Strange move, yeah, not really threatening anything. Just using the pin, but you just develop out of the pin. f3 might have consequences, as we'll see. Yeah, e3 weakens e3. He went knight d5, intending for some tactic. Another simple plan could have been just doubling up, something like this, and just getting out of things. Maybe you want to even take at some moment, yeah, here, and then just move the queen out of the way, or something like this. So knight d5 he went, but this ran into some tactical moves, yeah, and engine for thinks this is dubious, but I think this is just practical move again, because you spotted this very nice tactic, rook c4. Now he cannot capture, obviously, because of this, but he had some chances. Maybe very hard to spot this idea that maybe you're thinking that we can just yeah, be pawn up, but knight is attacked, and he comes back here. Very hard to spot this line from afar, and he basically wins this pawn back. Yeah, so yeah, and e4 he cannot go because we go immediately rook c3, so that's why he has to kind of go rook c1. But in the game he made a big mistake, I think strategic mistake. He immediately took, he had to use this pin, and now your queen g5 was another good move, to go kind of for attack more like this, but perfectly normal. Queen d7, you're just concentrating pieces on the queen side, and basically when you look at this position strategically, white has weak squares, kind of these double pawns, and you're like pawn up on the queen side, yeah, 2 versus 1, and this pawn structure stops the queen side pawns, yeah, because of these double pawns. And you also have I would argue better knight, yeah, versus bishop situation. So yeah, nice tactic, keeping the rook hanging, but he cannot really take. Now he moves the king out of the way, you move rook. Queen c6 was good, yeah, also queen b5, you kind of go back, kick the queen out, and very nice centralization, yeah, of the heavy pieces, activating them. And I think you're just strategically winning here, yeah, because basically you're pawn up, knight is better than the bishop, king is a bit weak, and quickly after this h6 move, white made a big blunder, yeah, and this is a decisive blunder which loses material. Yeah, other players can guess how black wins here, and pause the video, and the answer is, yeah, simple tactics in 2 moves. We just double attack, yeah, we sacked first, double attack, and he cannot even cover, yeah, because queen is on this diagonal. We win a piece overall, and you quickly realized your advantage, nicely consolidating and even going for mate. So that was nice at the end, checkmate. Okay, so let's conclude the game. So I don't think this Catalan, this system against Catalan with b6 Dutch works well. Better go for pure Stonewall Dutch or Rapport Dutch. But if you want to stick with b6, I kind of provided you this idea, yeah, instead of f5, go with e6 and go with d5. This, check out this system, yeah, see if it works for you. Second thing is this knight c6 a5 maneuver was a repeating pattern in this game, I think. So 9 move and 13 move, where is that? Yeah, 9 move here, you already had an option, yeah, instead of bishop e4, which is also a key move. And move 13, yeah, you developed the knight here, but it was actually better placed, would be better placed on c6 now, yeah. So keep in mind, remember this maneuver from what we can learn from this game, yeah, to go after this weak c4 square, and in general on the weak light squares, yeah, since we have this bishop. And even if we exchange it, yeah, these squares will still be weak because we have also a knight here. So that's a nice idea to keep in mind. And third thing, nice tactic with rook c4. So yeah, here what was this tactic? Yeah, you kind of calculate it from afar that you can take this pawn, and then you consolidate it nicely, outplaying the opponent, yeah, in this sort of structure, basically pawn up from this situation, yeah. So very nice win, congratulations, and keep sending those nice games, yeah. I hope you'll get now a nice fighting system against Catalan. Good luck. See you next games. Bye bye.